Hello and welcome to another video about Cardano. In this video we're going to take a look at the latest price action that Cardano is doing. We're taking a look at the indicators, oscillators and moving averages, and I talk to you about resistance and support lines, and for Bitcoin as well. We try to be a bit faster on Bitcoin, but I think it's always important to cover it because it has an effect on Cardano. Before we start, thanks a lot again for everybody who's commenting and hitting the like button and who's subscribing. Really overwhelmed. If you want to learn technical analysis, I've opened a second channel. You can find a link in the description. On this channel I provide support and tutorials about technical analysis, so feel free to check it out. At the moment, every day a small tutorial is coming out about indicators, oscillators, how to read charts. And it's an important week for Cardano and also for Bitcoin because tomorrow September starts. You know, we've talked about it on this channel. Other people are talking about it, that potentially there could be a drop coming because we are in September. Sounds a bit crazy, but yes, things are more or less sometimes predictable with Bitcoin. If we take a look at the stock to flow model, historical data tells us, yes, historically in September, normally there is a price drop. And I think last time it was like 20%. And if that is the case, we should see that drop in the next few days and then should see a price increase towards end of October if we are mirroring last year. Now, I can't say if that's going to happen. Nobody really knows. We can only take a look at indicators, oscillators. And as the name suggests, these only indicate and they can never 100% predict the future. With technical analysis, it's like everything in life. You can only look at the past and then make assumptions about what is going to happen, but you never really know until a breakout really happens. That's a misconception about technical analysis. We can only really prepare for breakouts and then get into it. Also, another important point for this week, tomorrow is also the testnet hard fork planned for ADA for Cardano. So if there is an issue that will negatively affect the price, in my opinion, I have full support out of full belief that this is going to happen successfully. I have no reason to believe that there should be any issues. So let's just hope for the best. As always, the Cardano team are giving their best. So let's take a look here on the weekly chart because we know September is approaching. What's going to happen? Not really sure, but let's take a look at the indicators, oscillators and moving averages. They tell us something about where we currently are, where we could have certain breakout and support and resistance levels. Bitcoin currently trading at 47,100, bit low compared to other prices that we saw in the last few days. We are taking a look here at the stochastic. The stochastic is telling us that we should stay in the trade on the long term. I mean, we're here on the weekly, don't forget. With the stochastic, if we are above 80, it just suggests that prices are continuing to push higher. So stay in the trade. That's what it suggests when it is high. It is sort of an overbought level, but on the stochastic, as you can see, normally when it's high, you stay in the trade because never work against the stochastic. On the MACD as well, on the weekly, very positive sign. The MACD line has crossed the 0 line on the 9th of August. And also there has been a crossover a few days later, a bullish crossover of both MACD and indicator lines. And the RSI, however, on the weekly suggests a losing momentum. So we've got two indicators suggesting bullish and the RSI is rather moving a little bit bearish. We can see that even though prices have gone up since March, actually earlier. So from December, actually, we started to see that decreasing these lower highs on the RSI. Again, we're still in bullish territory because we're above the 50 line of the RSI. And if we take a look at the bigger picture, we still have seen higher highs on the RSI. We have seen higher highs in prices here, but it became more difficult for Bitcoin to maintain that, to really push higher. So it was losing momentum then when we approached the all-time high back here, and then we moved down. So, you know, it's hard for it at the moment to push higher. We can clearly see that. The market is risking to roll over again. But what I also need to say, the last time the MACD made that bullish cross on the weekly, we really had very a very good next few weeks and months actually. So, you know, normally on the weekly here you stay in the trade on the stochastic, but we need to see what is going to happen on the shorter term time frames as well, just to keep up to date. On the daily here we can see that the stochastic is losing a little bit of momentum, so that already indicates on the shorter term time frame, yes, it is losing momentum. We're losing steam a little bit. On the MACD as well, continuing to go down. We made that bearish crossover. I talked about it on this channel a few days ago, so indicating another potential price drop. Again, in an uptrend, sometimes doesn't mean much. We had only very short periods here and here where we entered the red zone as well, but this seems to become something bigger at the moment. And the RSI is well losing momentum. So all of that points towards a potential rollover of the market. What is then important to see is where are important support and resistance lines. So at the moment I can see from a higher level point of view that we are maybe on a shorter term point of view, we might be trading in a channel here like that. But this is sort of looks to me like a horizontal support line, descending triangle, a bearish pattern. So if we break that level of 47,000 roughly, then we should see each other down here probably, because this is sort of a higher level pattern, ascending triangle, where we are at 44,500 currently. That would be the support level here. Also the one second. Yes. Also, there is an important level here, important support level at 44,500, a horizontal line that acted as support and resistance before. So here we need to make sure that we don't drop below 44,500 from the daily here. And then we've got these moving averages here. I mean, at the moment we are still above the 200-day moving average. We dropped briefly below that here a couple of weeks ago. Since then we've traded above the 200-day moving average on the daily. That indicates we are in a positive uptrend still. If we drop below that as well and lose some support here of that line at 44,500, wouldn't be a good sign. Next support for me is the 50-day moving average, which is currently at down here at around 41,000 or 42,000. So that is certainly a level to watch out for. We don't want to lose that, but it could really be that we drop to this. It's actually here, 41,600 pretty much on the daily at the moment. Bear in mind that is going up every day now, as long as we stay in this range here. For me, if Bitcoin can hold, in this level for another couple of weeks maybe, then Cardano should really do very well, because Cardano has really held very well compared to Bitcoin in the last few days and weeks. But we don't know. So if it is dropping, I just showed you the support levels here, 44,500. Next one for me would be 41,500, because that is the moving average. And then we've got several smaller support levels here. I think the moving averages are always main line of support. And let's take a look at the 4-hour chart, and then that's it for Bitcoin. We can see here on the very short time frame, I mean, it's not very short, that would be maybe the hourly or so, depending on what kind of level you prefer to look at and trade. But we can see a bit more in detail here that we've got the 200-day moving average on the 4-hour chart moving into this triangle now, quite close now, will provide some support as well, as it has done before. Acted, for example, as resistance here. So we need to see that normally can act as support, and also still above that, so indicating that we are actually seeing an uptrend still. But you can also see here on all these indicators that we are currently losing steam. Even here on the 4-hour chart, on the stochastic, we can see that we are not really in an uptrend anymore. We are below the 20 level, indicating currently an oversold range. That doesn't necessarily need to mean that that it's a buy, but what comes down goes up normally. So we can see on the 4-hour chart that we should expect a smaller price increase shortly. But that can only be a short one probably. Then also here on the MACD, we can see that we have been making already for a while now, that we have on the 4-hour chart Also a bearish divergence, not a good sign. And it seems like the latest one did not even get above, only briefly went above the 0 line, and now we are dropping already. So that is certainly not a good sign from a MACD point of view. On the 4-hour chart, quite bearish that is looking, because we just can't make new higher highs, and it, you know, we make smaller, we make lower highs here of those histograms as well. Not very massive, but from there to there it was a small divergence, and here as well. So that means if the prices go up but the MACD, for example, is going down, that is not a good sign. That is an indicator that the market is rolling over and it is continuing. We seem to be failing to push higher, and on the RSI we can see something similar, another lower high here. But let's take a look at Cardano. Let's take a look with Cardano. Let's start on the weekly as well. What we can see first is that we're above all moving averages as well, indicating a clear uptrend. Also the stochastic on the weekly, similar to Bitcoin, very high, above 80, indicates stay in the trend. Then we can see we've made a bullish crossover on the MACD, very similar to Bitcoin. I think we were a bit earlier here. So 3 weeks ago we did that, again bullish. And the RSI, however, similar to Bitcoin as well, making lower highs here, indicating despite price increases and an uptrend, indicating that we are losing steam a little bit, also from a longer term point of view. Let's take a look at the daily, where Cardano is really in an interesting structure at the moment. Let's take a look at the price first. So looking at that, we are really in this uptrend here. You can clearly see that support line, this diagonal support line from a higher level point of view is clearer on the 4-hour chart. So, but even if I do that, you can clearly see that we are in a, we've got this support level here. But actually I probably need to connect these ones. We always want 3 touches, and yep, and we touch 1, 2, 3 times here. That's where we are at the moment. That's, I think, an important support level, that diagonal line to the upside. Current support is at 270. That shows as well why 270 has already acted as support before. So it kind of comes together here, both things. 270 is an important support line, acted here as support, acted here as support, here as well. Here is resistance, here is support, and here is support. Bear in mind, this is the daily, so various days it has provided support. So we shouldn't drop below 270. If we do, then I think we'll drop down to 255, which was support before. I think not necessarily here on the daily, but on the 4-hour chart. I think on these 2 days, you could argue maybe they were. The 255 was support, but we actually didn't really close above 255. So this is more like 245. But 255, I think, is support on the lower time frames. Let's take a quick look at the other indicators here for Cardano. So let's start with the stochastic, indicating on the daily as well that we should stay in the trade, prices pushing higher. Then the MACD, now a bearish crossover. So first sign that the market might be rolling over from a daily point of view as well. And the RSI making lower highs as well. Not a good sign really. We need to see these new highs, otherwise we will potentially roll over, especially if we break below the 270 here. Let's take a look on the 4-hour chart. 4-hour, we can see clearer that we have had support here on this diagonal support line. We actually had this, first of all, we had this channel here, part of the bull flag. We broke out to the upside, failed to break through that resistance zone up here, the purple one that I show here, that really starts at 292. Then traded in another, you could either argue channel, or what has now formed was something like a triangle here, but I think that's now invalidated, so I'm going to take that out. But certainly we have on the upside here now something like a another diagonal support line, clearly 3, 4, 5 touches. We are now moving towards this other diagonal support line. So we've got a resistance line here, diagonal support line that I've just shown you, probably moving towards the apex here, which is currently sitting at 276. So that could be a potential scenario for today, that we might be trading towards that 276 level. So not really a lot of volatility expected. That also shows you why we are currently below 280, because this is resistance, this is support. So price is getting squeezed again into this apex. a breakout will happen at some point today, but as always, we don't know where, so we need to watch out for these levels. If we break above, like I would say and it depends on when it's happening. So very short, obviously it starts here at 281. If we would break now above 281 and retest that, we should be above that level. Later today, it will go down to 277. And from a support point of view, we are now at 270. So really shouldn't see that us dropping below 270. However, the later we go until today, and you can see the timestamps down there, that's UK time, then we should drop below 275 at a later point today. So really clear triangle here. If we take a look at all these indicators from a 4-hour point of view, we're now in this oversold area on the stochastic. On the MACD, we've made that bearish cross already. That was tonight, UK time. So that is not great. That's why also we went down a little bit, not a huge sell-off, but small correction, continued to trend downwards, and the RSI has been making lower highs since the 23rd of August now. So taking all that into account, I think my summary would be, you know, even though we are above all moving averages really on the longer term timeframes, especially also here on the 4-hour, I think the 200 is still providing good support somewhere down there. However, we are trading, I think, we're now below the 50-day moving average on the 4-hour. No, we're actually above that now. So, but again, they are sort of more volatile anyway on the 4-hour chart. But in summary, I think from a moving average point of view, we are still very good for Cardano, still in an uptrend. The oscillators, however, on the short-term timeframes, especially, they turn bearish now. Looks like we might be rolling over, but we also need to take into account that these two support levels, resistance levels of around 295 for Cardano and the 52,000 was a big one for Bitcoin. They really couldn't really get taken, so they provide some important resistance here. And if we don't see us going through them in the next few days, I think the market will roll over. So be prepared, especially because September is approaching. If history repeats itself, we will see price drops. However, I think Cardano will not easily give up. So for Cardano, we've got that 270 level here that I showed you, which is an important support level. After that, we've got 255 and 245. They are the most important ones I'm watching for at the moment. If we drop below that, I think we might have a longer correction. That doesn't mean months, but it could be a few weeks, maybe sideways move or correction. And I did say to you before, something like a 30% price drop before a new bull market or before another pump did happen before. So even if we drop like 30%, that wouldn't indicate that we enter a new bear market. That could happen with Bitcoin as well. We did that before, and it just means for every long-term holder, you can get new entry prices, good entry prices, but never financial advice here. You will always need to come to your own conclusions. So for me, yeah, it's important. We need to see these new highs in the next few days, still make higher lows, which is good. We need to break this diagonal support line to the upside. I think if we don't, then we are sort of officially breaking this uptrend here, and that could then really indicate a bit of a sell-off. And then we've got this 245 here, because then we're at risk of making a lower low, a lower swing low. So that's the next important one for me then, 245. All right, so hopefully you liked that update. If you did, please smash the like button. And if you want to follow me on this crypto journey, please subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye.